Glam Girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, and today we are talking about some new Pat McGrath. We have the new limited edition Mothership Rose Decadence palette. And first of all, I have to say this. Thank you guys for all of your love and your support with the passing of my grandmother. You guys were just so kind with all of your condolences and prayers. I read every message, and I really just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for your patience and just waiting for me to come back. It's been a little over a week since I uploaded a video, so I'm just so glad to be back, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you and just your kindness to me and my family. I just wanted to let you all know that. And what better way to come back than with some Mother Pat? It rhymed. Okay, so today I'm obviously going to be showing you some eye looks. We're going to be using this palette on the face as well, because as soon as I saw this palette, was I the only one who thought this is definitely sort of kind of maybe a face palette as well? I see blushes, I see highlighters, so we're going to be giving this face and these eyes a total Pat McGrath do-over. And of course, we'll do swatches. I'll do some comparisons, but I'm also going to link Kinky Sweat's video down below, because you all know she is the queen of swatches and the queen of Pat McGrath swatches. So I'm going to link her video down below as well, so that you can take a look at her video, because I may not go into as much detail as her, simply because I don't own every Pat McGrath palette. I have a lot of them, but I don't have all of them. So she has all of them. I will link her video down below. But before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to spend some time with me. If this is your first time here, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe to my channel and join the Glam Girl squad. And if you are a returning subscriber, well, I am so thankful that you decided to come back and support my channel with all of your likes and your comments. They all really do mean a lot to me. So let's get into this video. So like we said, we've got Rose Decadence, and I think she is lovely. As soon as I saw the promo pics for this one, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed, because I am just waiting for a blush palette. Am I the only one? I'm just waiting. I'm like, mother, can I have a blush palette? But when I also saw this one, I said, okay, she's not an official blush palette, but I can make her work as a blush palette. So I'm definitely interested in trying some of these shadows on my face as well as the eyes. But let's get into some details, so then we can just get into these looks. So this retails for $65. Mother says this is a 6-shade love letter to ravishing roses. This limited edition palette is rendered in a swoon-worthy array of cream mattes, incendiary shimmers, and one divinely decadent duochrome. We have the shades Pink Champagne, which is a warm frosted pink, Peach Dust, which is a pink coral matte that I think would look stunning as a blush, Fuchsia Flame, which is a warm pink duochrome with fuchsia purple flash, Golden Honey, light antique gold metallic, Scandalous, which is a rose bronze metallic, and then Hedonistic Rose, which is a mid-tone pink mauve. From my understanding, all of these shades are new. There are no repeat shades within this particular palette, which is great. But obviously, looking at this palette, I do see some similar shades from her other palette, so we'll swatch those just to see how similar they are in tone. Right off the back, I do not think this is a palette that you absolutely need. I haven't even touched it, haven't even tried it, but if you own a good amount of Pat McGrath palettes, especially if you own her Mothership palettes, I see very similar shades. But is this a palette that you might want based on the colors and how it performs? That's what we're going to address today. Let's start off with the face, because you guys know I like to do my face first. I got some new brushes from Bristles Beauty, so I'm going to try these brushes today. So I'm going in with the F08 AM brush. We're going to dip into Peach Dusk. That's what it's, yes, Peach Dusk. So I do have on foundation. I have on the Pat McGrath foundation. I have on the Armani Power Fabric Concealer. In the Pat foundation, I am M19. In the Armani concealer, I am shade 7.75. I set my under eye with the Chantecaille blurring powder, and I set the rest of my face with the Ilia Radiance powder in the shade Waikiki Run. I lightly filled in my brows, and for bronzer, Gucci Bronzer 04, and that's it. Okay, so now going in with this brush, Going in with Peach Dusk. This looks very pigmented. I lightly tapped my brush, and let's add this to the cheeks. And that looks really pretty, really pretty. This is a matte shade, so no shimmer at all, but I like the way that this is blending. It's blending quite nicely, and I like that color. It is very pretty, and I think this works very well for a blush, especially if you are around my complexion. If you are a little deeper than me, I definitely think this could still show up as a blush. Of course, if you're lighter than me, I would say go in with a light hand because these are pigmented. As you can see, I added more on this side than this side, but this is nice, and it's blending in pretty nicely too. I want to take a little bit of pink champagne right here, and I want to top this on the apples of the cheeks because you guys know I like shimmery brushes. This is the Bristles Beauty F09-RM brush. Ooh, that's pretty. That is pretty. Ooh, that's pretty. Ah, that is pretty. Definitely is not coming off nearly as icy as I thought it was, just from looking at it in the pan. It definitely has some warmth to it. She describes it as a warm frosted pink, and that's exactly what I see. There's definitely warmth to it. The term frosted kind of threw me off because I'm like, is it icy or is it not? But it definitely is more warm than it is icy. Loving this. I think this is a beautiful highlight. These two shades so far, I'm really loving for the face as a blush and highlighter, or blush toppers like I have with the pink champagne shade. So let's come in a little closer and let's do some eyes. Okay, so eyes are primed with the ABH primer, Bristles Beauty brush in E02RL. We're gonna start off with the shade Fuchsia Flame right here. And I wanna take this all over the lid. And we're just going to start by packing it on here. This shade definitely is a little more textured. It's not like a traditional shimmer without any texture. It has just a little bit of texture. Not a lot, but a little bit. I'm gonna go in with my finger just to see if we can intensify this shade. And yes, we do. We definitely get a little bit more intensity with the finger. This Fuchsia Flame color is the one duochrome in the pan, and it is really, really, really pretty. I'm really, really liking that one. Beautiful. Same brush, we're going in with the shade Hedonistic Rose, and I'm just gonna flip it over on the other side, and we're going to concentrate this shade on the outer portion of the lid and blend it into Fuchsia Flame. There we go. I was like, wait, where is the pigment? Kind of bring it up into the transition area of the eye. The shade is nice and pigmented, and gives me some rich color, which I am really liking. And while I'm here, since some got down here, I'm just gonna bring it down because that's what I normally would do. And blend it a little bit down here. I am gonna go back with the blending brush and blend out this outer area, so do not worry about that. Going in with the Bristles Beauty E01DL brush, and I am just going to start blending out the edge here. And Hedonistic Rose is blending nicely. Wiping off the Bristles Beauty E02RL brush and going in with Pink Champagne right here. And I'm going to use this in the inner portion of the eye because I just have to. I mean, to me, Fuchsia Flame with Pink Champagne, ooh, and they rhyme. They are a match made in heaven, as I knew they would be. Oh, that is so, so pretty. Going in with the Bristles Beauty E03DM brush, I'm going to take a little bit more of Hedonistic Rose, that deep burgundy shade, and we're just gonna concentrate it a little bit more across the entire lower lash line. Going in with my BK Beauty 207 brush and Peach Dusk, which is right here. And I'm going to just use this to further smoke out that Hedonistic Rose shade. Then for inner corner, Bristol's Beauty E05 PS brush. Let's go in with Pink Champagne, and we're going to finish off the inner corner of the lower lash line and connect it to the inner corner of the upper lash line. One eye look down, one to go. Let's go in with Scandalous right here, and I'm gonna go in with my finger. And to the touch, this shade feels more dry and not as like creamy as some of the shimmers in the Divine Rose 2 palette. But obviously still giving us a punch of pigment. But just, you know, upon touching it, the shades aren't as creamy as Divine Rose 2. In my opinion, Divine Rose 2 was her best formulated palette from the palettes that I have. I want to go in with Golden Honey, taking the Bristol's Beauty E02 RL brush, and let's pack this along the inner corner. And this is the metallic shade in the palette. Oh, that is so pretty. Oh, that's pretty. And I think what I want to do is almost make this my crease color as well. Just kind of wrap it around and surround the Scandalous shade and blend the two together. That is so pretty. And you know what? Let's add a little bit to the outer corner. We're just gonna let the brush tell us what we want to do. I think that's what I want to do. And then I'll go back in with Scandalous and just intensify it right out here and blend it into the Golden Honey shade. Going in with my Rephr 13 brush, and let's take the Scandalous shade and add some to the lower lash line. I do have some fallout with the Scandalous shade, and I do have some fallout with the metallic shade, but once again, it is a metallic shade, so I'm not shocked by that. Taking more of Golden Honey, the metallic shade, and using that as the inner corner highlight. For highlight, I do want to go in with Pink Champagne and finish off my highlight with that shade. The Golden Honey metallic, it is beautiful, but I think as a highlight, it's too textured for my liking of a highlight. I like my highlights to be a little smoother in formula and, you know, not more of a metallic. So I'm gonna stick with Pink Champagne as my overall highlight for the face. Okay, so I'm gonna finish off my eyes and my brows, and I will come back and give you my final thoughts and show you some swatch comparisons with other palettes. So guys, this is the finished look, and all in all, I really do like this palette. I think it's a really nice addition to the palettes that she's already created, and I feel like it is not a necessity. My instincts were right. This is not a necessity palette. It's not something that you need to have. I think it is a nice addition. So in terms of what I like about it, I really do love the tones of the shadows. I think they're beautiful. I love pinky eyeshadow. So like I said, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna like it because I love colors like this. This Pink Champagne formula, sorry y'all, keep on you, is so nice. It's really smooth and buttery. I love how as a highlight, you don't see any texture coming from it. It just looks beautiful on the skin. I really enjoy it. This matte shade, Peach Dusk, also blends very nicely and smoothly along with this other matte shade, Hedonistic Rose, that's the name of it. These matte shades blend very nicely. Two shimmers here, Golden Honey and then Scandalous. Like I mentioned before, they are more textured along with Fuchsia Flame. They're definitely more textured than the shades that are in Divine Rose 2. So in terms of formula, this is not going to be the same formula that we find in this particular palette here, where in my opinion, the shimmers were just so smooth. The mattes blended very well. Like, I think this formula wise is her best palette in my opinion. But in terms of performance, I think they all worked really well. And like I said, this is a great addition palette. When I was using it, I definitely was missing some shades. I would have loved if somehow we could have had a nice matte brown shade, because especially with this eye look here, it's completely shimmer, and although I think it looks nice and it works, like I would have loved a matte brown shade to go in and, you know, deepen up the outer eye or throw it into the transition just to make the look a little more cohesive, and I found myself missing that within this palette. So that's why I say this is a great additional palette. In my opinion, this is not a complete full palette unless you want to go for some type of burgundy-ish eye look, if that makes sense, or if you want to go for, you know, more of like a peach based eye look, because out of, you know, with using these two matte shades, I don't think you're able to get as much diversity in terms of the looks that you're going to get from this palette, because the base is always going to pull either more burgundy or it's going to pull more of this peach color, if that makes sense. You can get a variance of looks. Like obviously these two eye looks look totally different. They don't look like they're coming from the same palette, but I would definitely need to go into another palette if I wanted a matte shade to complement this look that wasn't going to be burgundy or peach. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I think if you're a Pat McGrath fan, you love this color scheme and you're like, I know that I will get some good use out of it, that I would enjoy these colors, and I would definitely recommend it. But if you're somebody who's like, I mean, I like shades like this, but I feel like I have them, then I would say skip it. Especially if you don't like shades like this, then do not waste your time. But I feel like for myself, I will get use out of it, especially because I can use this on the face and on the eyes. It makes it a little bit more marketable in my collection, if that makes sense. So I would recommend this palette, but like I mentioned earlier, it is not a need. It is an additional palette. So let's do some quick swatch comparisons. As soon as I saw Peach Dust, I immediately thought of Naked Blush. So here is Peach Dust from the new Rose Seduction palette. And then we have Naked Blush from Divine Rose 2, because I was like, these look very similar. And looking at the swatches up close, Rose Seduction definitely has more of a pinky hue to it, which is the one I'm talking about right here, versus Naked Blush looks more like a neutral pinky color, if that makes sense. So they're definitely not identical in shade, and there you can see a slight difference when you do put them on the eyes. I know Kinky Sweat, she did a comparison of the two, and when she put the two on the eyes, there was a difference. It was slight, but there was a difference in the two tones on the skin. Hedonistic Rose to Extreme Burgundy from Divine Rose 2, because those were two shades that when I saw them, I was like, they look similar. So here is Hedonistic Rose, and then we have Extreme Burgundy. And so looking at the two shades, they're definitely not the same. Extreme Burgundy is looking obviously more burgundy based, whereas Hedonistic Rose has more of that fuchsia based color to it as well. And sorry, my swatches are just very raw. They're just very raw. We're not here to make them look pretty. We're just here to give you some shade references. Let's look at Mothership 5, and I'm swatching this gold shade right here, because to me, this gold shade looks very similar to Golden Honey from the Rose Decadence palette. Golden Honey from Rose Decadence, and then we have the gold shade, I don't know it off the top of my head, from Bronze Seduction, Mothership 5. And as you can see, the two golds are definitely different. So I feel like the gold shade from Bronze Seduction looks more bronze, and the golden shade from Rose Decadence definitely looks more of like an antique gold, more of like a true gold color. Coming from Divine Rose 1, I'm gonna swatch this gold shade right here, because just looking at it, it looks similar. Even though the formula is different, I do still wanna swatch it just for my own liking. So here we have Rose Decadence, and then this is the gold shade from Divine Rose 1. And looking at them in tone, they do look a little similar. Like I said, the formula is different, and looking at them up close, the shade from Divine Rose 1 is more bright and more golden, not more so of like that antique gold. But just kind of looking at them far away, they do look a little similar in shade. Let's go in with Scandalous right here. We're gonna swatch Scandalous from Rose Decadence right here. I'm looking at Bronze Rosé right here, Bronze Rosé 005. I just kind of want to see for myself what they look like next to each other. I don't think they're gonna be totally similar, but I just am interested in myself. So those are the two shades, and yeah, they're definitely not similar in tone. Of course, Scandalous definitely has more of a bronzy hue than Bronze Rose 005. But I just wanted to see what they look like next to each other. Let's do one more. Let's swatch Pink Champagne, and let's swatch this shade from Blitz Astral. So this pinky shade right here, I just kind of want to see what the differences are between the two. I know that they're going to be different, but I just want to see the differences between the two. Okay, so yeah, definitely two completely different shades, and of course formulas between the two shades. So those were all of the swatch comparisons that I have for this palette, along with the other Mothership palettes that I have that I felt were comparable. Like I said, I didn't want to go through and swatch everything. Kinky Sweat swatched way more than I did. So if there were other questions or even other palettes that you wanted to see in comparison to this new Rose Decadence palette, definitely check out her video. And like I said, I had that link down below so that you can check it out. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. And if there are any questions that I did not answer for you in this particular video, definitely leave them down in the comment section below. So glad to be back. I really missed you guys from my little break. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.